Okie dokie. Can we do a very, very quick sound check? Can you hear me loudly? And can you hear me clearly? No intros today. This might be a slow show because, as Richard's informed me, we're going up against fucking Chelsea and Liverpool. So this might be a bit of a slog. But nevertheless, yeah, I thought, look, cut the intros. I've got some new intros coming, actually. I've got some new intros coming along, yeah. So I'll drop the intros again when I sort out my new intros. I've got some new Big John intros and some other things coming along. Right, quickly. Anthony Joshua, right? So we had 500 people in the chat last night. Big thanks to everybody who was part of the chat, everybody who joined, people who called in, etc., etc. I very, very much appreciate it. So last night, after about 500 in the chat and about 10,000 views, I think I'm at 10,000 views so far on that video, right? So we got quite a bit of feedback on that video. The overwhelming majority of you, right, seem to be of the opinion that, look, Anthony Joshua's career is fucking, it's on the knife edge. Do you know what I mean? His career is career in top level boxing, obviously, not his career in boxing as a whole, but his career boxing at the elite level, right? As far as you're concerned, Tony calls him Humpty Dumpty, doesn't he? Tony calls Anthony Joshua Humpty Dumpty, and he said, listen, he's fallen off the wall. He's broken into a million pieces, right? You just can't fix him anymore. But what I want to do today is try and focus on something a little bit more positive, right? So if we get the new graphics on the screen, today's question is the following. I'm looking for input from you guys in the chat. We were supposed to get people calling in. If people do want to come in and give their opinion, they're welcome to do so. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. We're on the verge of getting some new contributors coming onto the show. Some people that you may know from other channels. Actually, I'm going to make a call out because I've been trying to find out this guy's address. But for those of you who watch Porky's Corner, can anybody get in contact with Mr. Julian McGowan? And if somebody can get in contact with Mr. Julian McGowan and tell him that Ultra would very much like to have him come on the live show and have a chat, that'd be fantastic. That's somebody that I'm looking to poach. So Julian McGowan, yeah. For those of you listen to Porky, if you can find out where he is, who he is, and tell him to give me a shout, because I'd absolutely love to have him on the live show for a chat. But we've got a few people that are ready to come on in the background if you're interested in that sort of thing. But as you can see on the screen, how can Anthony Joshua save his career, right? Today I'm going to put on my manager's hat. Today I'm going to put on my psychologist hat. Today I'm going to put on my social worker hat, yeah? And with your help, right, I'm going to attempt to fix the career of Anthony Joshua, which I think the beginning of the end came when they didn't fight Deontay Wilder and they ended up going to fucking New York and fighting Andrew Ruiz, coming off XYZ weeks notice. That to me was pretty much the beginning of the end of Anthony Joshua, right? But how do we fix him? So let's get to the first point, all right? And I want to ask you about this individual here, all right? And this is something that just came to my mind, all right? Eddie boxing. Now, they've done a very, very good job for Anthony Joshua. There's no question about that, right? I think Eddie Hearn was the right promoter for Anthony Joshua at the right time. I'm on record as saying, yeah, I actually don't believe that Frank Warren would have done a better job than Eddie Hearn with Anthony Joshua, given equal circumstances. And I just don't. I think he did a very, very good job of building up the hype, getting fans and casuals to buy into the hype. And I do think, yeah, that up until about 2 or 3 years ago, right, Matchroom and Eddie Hearn have actually done a very, very good job with Anthony Joshua. But here's the first question that I'm going to ask you, right? I'm just sniffing Olbasol, by the way, because I'm not very well. So it's not I'm not on what Conor McGregor was on last night. I'm not sniffing the same shit Conor McGregor was sniffing ringside last night, because he was on a fucking completely different planet. But anyway, it is what it is, right? So don't get confused with what they're sniffing in the O2 bathroom, right? O2 Arena bathroom here. This is only Olbasol. But Eddie Hearn, let me ask you guys a question, yeah, about Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. And I could be completely wrong on this, so this is why I'm asking you guys for input, right? Anthony Joshua wants to fight Deontay Wilder, right? Most people seem to think with the kind of money that the two of them want, that this fight is most likely to happen, yeah, in Saudi Arabia, in a fight that is largely run by Skills Challenge. Question number one. If Anthony Joshua's plan A, as he said last night in his post-fight press conference, and we'll get onto this in a minute, but in his post-fight press conference, what was he talking about? He was talking about plan A, which I think second. But if you want and you want to fight with in Saudi Arabia with Deontay Wilder, what's the need to have Eddie Hearn and Matchroom? Can somebody explain that to me? Because quickly, what do Eddie Hearn and Matchroom bring to the table? Like, so what I'm trying to say is, Alexander Usyk has recently signed with Skills Challenge. Am I right about that or am I wrong about that, right? Alexander Usyk has recently signed with Skills Challenge. There's rumors that Deontay Wilder is also on the verge of signing with Skills Challenge. What would stop Anthony Joshua doing the same and signing with Skills Challenge? What I'm trying to get to is this, right? I'm not talking about the past, right? I'm talking about now. 13th of August, 2023. We're trying to ascertain, what does Eddie Hearn bring to the table with Anthony Joshua that he can't get from elsewhere? That's what I'm trying to. Do you think that's a fair? Press 1 if you think that's a fair question, or press 2 if you think that's an unfair question. Because a lot of this episode, yeah, is going to be about getting rid of the bloodsuckers, right? Getting rid of the hangers on, getting rid of the bloodsuckers. Like, to be honest with you, if I had Anthony Joshua's ear, I'd be looking to trim down the amount of people that are in Anthony Joshua's inner circle as quickly as possible, right? I'd be doing an audit, right? It's a bit like when fucking Price, what they call Price Waterhouse and Cooper or whatever they call, come into your company, yeah? And they do an audit, right? And they try and figure out what a company needs, what a business needs, and what a business doesn't need, right? And we're in the Anthony Joshua business, right, for the next half an hour, 45 minutes. So what I'm saying to you here is, what would be the point of sticking with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn at this point if you're looking to pretty much finish your career in Saudi Arabia? The biggest fights of your career are most likely to take place in Saudi Arabia. So what is the point of staying at the minute with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom? Can somebody, like a couple of years ago, when they had exclusivity over Sky, which is why everybody was signing with them, and now, which is the reason why people are beginning to leave again, right? As I told you years ago, it was never really about Matchroom. It was to do with the fact that they were on the Sky platform. People wanted to get on the Sky platform, and now they've left the Sky platform. You can see the fighters are now beginning to leave as well, right? So guys like Fabio Wardley, who's probably going to sign with either Queensbury or Boxer, right? And Joshua Buatsi and Lawrence Okole, right? Now that Matchroom are no longer embedded yet and have an exclusive deal with Sky, you're seeing now a lot of fighters have had enough and they want to jump ship, right? So what's keeping Anthony Joshua? What's keeping Anthony Joshua? Straight Out of Boscombe is summarized it a lot better than me. What can he? He's asked the question. What can he get elsewhere that he can't get from him? Well, why are we cutting Eddie Hearn in for 10%? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Eddie Hearn's on what, a 10%? Is he gets a 10% cut of the purse? But for what? I mean, I'm just being honest with you. Like, he gets a 10% cut of the purse, but DAZN isn't really like a channel that top fighters really want to be on, is it? I know he's on a big sort of deal with DAZN. He's getting a large guarantee from DAZN. I believe he could have signed that, to be honest, up front, regardless. Do you know what I mean? I think DAZN could have done a deal direct with Anthony Joshua and just cut Matchroom out of it. I'm trying to figure out what Eddie Hearn's doing in this thing, why Eddie Hearn's walking him to the ring, etc., etc. I don't see it. Like a couple of years ago, like I said, when Matchroom had the exclusive deal with Sky, yeah, when you basically couldn't get on Sky without going through Matchroom, I could kind of understand, yeah, why you'd need to have Eddie Hearn batting in your corner. But in the year 2023, 13th of August, right, Eddie Hearn's no longer on Sky, so you can be on the Sky box office platform without dealing with Eddie Hearn. I believe he could have signed some kind of agreement with DAZN direct. I don't think there was any need to do that. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on because, as far as I'm concerned, and somebody already mentioned it in the chat, you need to look here at who needs who more. For me, right, some of the best relationships, yeah, are when they're equal, when they're symbiotic, where you get something from me and I get something from you. Now, we know what Eddie Hearn gets from Anthony Joshua, don't we? Does that make sense? Right? We know what Eddie Hearn gets from Anthony Joshua, right? We know what he gets, right? He gets, Anthony Joshua on the Matchroom banner, right? He gets to use Anthony Joshua as a fucking tool, doesn't he? Which is what he's done his whole career. He's used Anthony Joshua as a tool and a weapon against the likes of Deontay Wilder. Remember the whole DAZN thing? Listen, you need to sign with DAZN, Deontay Wilder, if you're going to get the fight of Anthony Joshua and things like that. He's always used Anthony Joshua as a tool, isn't he? To forward his own games, isn't it? To fight his agendas, isn't it? Anthony Joshua's always been the emotional tampon, right? When Eddie Hearn had beef with the PBC and Deontay Wilder, right, about 5 years ago, and it got really personal, and he was jumping on IFL TV, and he was talking about Shirley Winkle, right? Who is he using to fight his emotional battles, right? Who is he using? He's using Anthony Joshua, innit? Anthony Joshua will knock you out. You're scared, you're ducking. Anthony Joshua will knock you out. You don't want it. You don't want it. Oh, look, you need to sign with the zone if you want to fight with AJ. If you want to fight with AJ, you need to sign with the zone. And then when Wilder opted not to sign with the zone, see, I told you, he was scared of AJ all along. Look, he turned down, was it 500 million or some stupid shit? He turned down 500 million not to fight AJ. He's scared of him. All this nonsense, right? He's always used Anthony Joshua as an emotional tampon, right? But I'm saying the best relationships are the ones that are symbiotic. You do something for me and I do something for you. We know what Eddie Hearn gets out of having Anthony Joshua. And you see how much pressure that he puts on Anthony Joshua. Like, you see the press conference. I felt this was a very, very uncomfortable press conference between I don't know how you feel about it, but I thought it was a very, very uncomfortable press conference because you can see Anthony Joshua, you know, he's saying things that the signs are there. He's saying things like, look, I need to stay active. You can see in it, like Anthony Joshua, I need to stay active. I need to stay busy. You know, ideally, you can see that he knows he needs a couple more fights. You know, he's talking about still learning with his new trainer and things like that. What do you guys think? All of the signals that are coming from Anthony Joshua so far, right? And I know he's got pride, and I know he doesn't want to look like he's ducking, and I know deep down, yeah, he's willing to fight anybody, right? But the bottom line of it is this. All of the signals that came from Anthony Joshua last night, this is a guy who's only had 2 fights with a new trainer, all right, another new trainer, and he wants more time to work with that trainer, and he wants more time to sharpen the tools before he gets into a big fight. What do you guys think about that? That's what it seemed like to me. It seems like the overwhelming sort of thing from Anthony Joshua is, look, the bottom line is I need to be more active. I need to be in the ring more. I need to work things out more with my trainer, to be honest, and then I'm ready for the big fights. That's, to me, the underlying current of what I got from Anthony Joshua. You can see Michael Benson there stating it there. Anthony Joshua has stated that he wants 2 more fights this year, which is obviously impossible because it's August. So how the fuck is he going to get out for 2 more fights this year? But I definitely think he knows he needs at least 1 more fight. He knows he needs at least 1 more fight. But then you get Eddie Hearn coming out and saying stuff like, well, Prince Khalid's here and we were already discussing the fight. And Eddie Hearn saying, well, hopefully we can get the Wilder fight over the line this week. Who heard that? Did you hear him say that he thinks that the Wilder fight could get done as early as Tuesday or something? Or he says he wants Wilder fight done this week. And he's telling Kugan Cassius and IFL TV in interviews like this, look, you are going to sleep. Eddie Hearn warns Deontay Wilder and all this stuff, right? And he's saying things like the only people that can stop this fight are the Saudis. Again, you have to ask yourself the question, who needs who? Who needs who more? Anthony Joshua, to me, is a guy at the minute who struggles to deal with pressure, right? He very much, struggles to deal with pressure. I've said it now for a good while, and I was one of the first people to say this, The man has clearly got anxiety. Like, as an anxiety sufferer, he has clearly got anxiety. So he needs to take the pressure off himself as much, as physically possible. I'm not muted, so I'm definitely not muted. So I'm not muted. I'm absolutely not muted. Guys, can someone say, am I muted? Because I'm clearly not. I can see the mic, right? So let me quickly say, the pressure in it. The pressure. If you're going to put all of that pressure on Anthony Joshua, right? If you're going to put all of that pressure on Anthony Joshua, you need to be bringing something to the table, right? So my first question is, Eddie Hearn, what do you guys think about that? In an era where really Anthony Joshua should be boxing on Sky Box Office, shouldn't he? Do you not think? Like, he's the biggest fighter, right? He's the biggest commercial success in this country, right? Do you not think a fighter of his quality should be boxing on Sky Sports Box Office? Do you not think Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder should be shown on the biggest platform there is, which is Sky Sports Box Office? I'm just asking you guys. Eddie Hearn, what does he bring to the table? Who needs who more? And are we at the stage now? That's all right, no problem, Sheva, no problem. Are we at the stage now, where we need to think about possibly moving on a bit? Moving on. Because to me, and I'm just being 150% honest, and I'll remove this call to action from the top of the screen so we can see Eddie Hearn's lovely face, I know I'll get a lot of heat for saying this. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys right now, right? This is a man at the minute, Eddie Hearn, right, who has made the biggest mistake of his career, right, by leaving the Sky platform and going to the zone. Time will probably show that that will be the worst mistake, yeah, that was a Matchroom Boxing has ever made. In fact, I'll probably say that Eddie Hearn deciding to go to the Zone and leaving the Sky platform is probably the biggest mistake that Matchroom Sport have ever made in their whole career. And you can see the results last night. We had people calling in last night. We had people calling in who obviously bought tickets to the event last night. So we know last night wasn't a sellout event. We know last night that they failed to sell out. We had a caller call in last night, and tell us the exact sections that they failed to sell out last night, and how people will be moved from the cheap seats at the back of the arena that they couldn't sell out and moved to the front to make the stadium look full. And if you don't believe me, you can go and look at last night's live for that. So we have people who've bought 6 or 7 tickets to the show, yeah. And they understand and they know what's going on with the ticket sales because they've bought tickets and they can see how, you know, the seats are being reallocated and things like that. So we know that these anti-Joshua fights didn't sell out. We know last night didn't sell out. We know that his fight with Jermaine Franklin didn't sell out, yeah? So that's what I'm trying to get to. That's my first point. What do you guys think? I'll read your comments. Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, yeah, he's done a great job for him, but he did a great job for him when he was on Sky. Since he's been on the Zone, I don't see the point in it. What do you guys think? And like I said before, it seems to be a relationship where Eddie Hearn's almost behaving like the pimp and Anthony Joshua is almost behaving like the hoe. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's what's going on. It does seem like Eddie Hearn's behaving like the pimp and Anthony Joshua's behaving like the hoe. That's how it seems to me. Anthony Joshua's a guy who's clearly not confident in himself right now, clearly lacks self-confidence, clearly lacks self-confidence outside of the ring, and he clearly lacks self-confidence inside the ring. And if you read between the lines of the things that he was saying in last night's press conference, it's quite clear that he needs another fight. But then you've got this man here, the promoter, yeah, who needs to pimp him and sell him out, and you know, and try and deliver big fights for the Zone, and try and keep Matchroom's contract with the Zone going, and try and keep all these things going. Right? This man's reputation's on the line. This man's business is on the line. So he's not really thinking, yeah, really, in my opinion, about what's best for Anthony Joshua. Would you guys agree? Press 1 if you'd agree with me on that so far, and press 2 if you disagree. Because fighting Deontay Wilder next clearly isn't the best option for Anthony Joshua. I think anybody with a fucking brain would understand that. I'm not saying he can't beat Deontay Wilder. What I'm saying is fighting Deontay Wilder next in January quite clearly is not the best option for Anthony Joshua, right? If you were to get an independent panel to sit down, innit? An independent panel of independent people who don't need to use and pimp Anthony Joshua to make money, who don't need to use and pimp Anthony. And just think about this. Just think about this. If Eddie Hearn did lose Anthony Joshua, what big fighters would he have left? Tell me, like, who? Let's just say Eddie Hearn and Matchroom lost Anthony Joshua, right? Can somebody tell me the truly big fighters that they would actually have left, yeah, in their UK stable? Who would be these big showstopper fights they would have in their UK stable? Conor Ben? Conor Ben? I've never seen any evidence that Conor Ben drives the needle in the UK. Never seen any evidence of it. I've heard a lot of stories about so-called pay-per-view buys for a fight that never took place because he failed 2 drugs tests. I've never seen any evidence that Conor Ben is like a massive needle mover. See, again, who needs who more? Who does it suit? You know, the promoters coming on here saying shit like Deontay Wilder's going to get put to sleep by Anthony Joshua. The promoters on here saying that we're looking to get this fight signed by next week. The fighters on here saying he needs a couple more fights, ideally, and that he wants to get out and be active. Who does this all suit? Does it suit Anthony Joshua? I don't think so. Again, the best relationships are ones with that are symbiotic. And this one stopped being symbiotic when Matchroom left Sky. When Matchroom left Sky, it became quite adamantly clear. They need Anthony Joshua a lot more than Anthony Joshua needs them. Get rid of the pressure over Anthony Joshua. Get rid of the pressure. He can't deal with pressure. Andre, by the way, if you want to call in, Andre, in 10 or 15 minutes, let me know, because it'd be good to hear your opinions last night on what you saw last night. But no stress, Andre, no obligation, but just let me know if you're interested or so, because I'll keep a slot for you. But we're talking about pressure mentally. He's a guy, Anthony Joshua, who clearly cannot handle the pressure. He's clearly got mental demons going on there now. And there's no doubt about that now. You know, the Usyk thing last night was the Usyk thing was obviously not a one-off. The guy had a mental breakdown in the middle of the ring, didn't he, against Alexander Usyk, and said, he knows he's too big, he can't go 12 rounds. Talking about all the fucking jail time he did in Reading jail when he was a little you, threatening journalists, threatening to beat people up in the crowd. You see last night after he knocked out Robert Helenius, he tried to leave the ring and walk out of the ring, and then got stopped by fucking security and all these people. He got stopped, and it's just the whole thing's a fucking mess. Shall I tell you someone else as well? Talk about hangers-on and people using Anthony Joshua. Did you guys see Conor McGregor last night? I thought that was so cringy. What do you guys think about Conor McGregor stuffing a drink down Anthony Joshua's throat? Mate, I'm not being funny, yeah? Do you know how many fighters are testing positive at the minute? We've got fighters in the UK that are testing positive, yeah? All over the place. Right? We know Conor McGregor is more than likely, yeah, into narcotics. Press 1 if you think I'm right, or press 2 if you think I'm wrong. Well, we know McGregor is more than likely on some form of narcotics. Would you agree with me, or would you disagree with me about that, right? This man, Anthony Joshua, right, last night, within 2 seconds of winning the fight by knockout, you've got your man, fucking Conor McGregor, in the ring, right? How he's got into the ring and got to AJ through his handlers, I'll never know, yeah? And then all of a sudden, he's shoving a fucking drink down Anthony Joshua's throat. And it looked like Anthony Joshua didn't even want it. He's shoving a drink down Anthony Joshua's throat. Mate, first and foremost, not for my fighter. My fighter ain't drinking anything until the post-fight piss test is done. Have you not learned anything from when Tyson Fury went to Germany and fought Vladimir Klitschko? Press 7 if you agree with me. What did Tyson Fury say when he fought Vladimir Klitschko and he beat him in Germany? Do you remember when we were backstage? What's the first thing that Tyson Fury said? No water. Who remembers Tyson Fury backstage when he beat Klitschko? I don't want no water. Nobody give me any water. Get these bottles out of here. I don't trust these guys. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember that? Because he knew what was coming, didn't he? He knew what was coming. He saw how the ring was gimmicked up. He saw how the ring was gimmicked up, wasn't he? The ring, that fucking ring they tried to put him in with, until Mick Hennessy spotted out that the ring was like a fucking bouncy castle. And then Vladimir Klitschko tried to get his hands wrapped without nobody looking, innit? So he knew what was coming, didn't he? Do you remember what he said? No water. Don't give me no water. Apparently, Tyson Fury didn't have no water until he was on a plane back to England. Didn't have no more water until he was on a plane back. Don't give me no water. Because he knew what was going to happen. But this man, Conor McGregor, has been allowed to just walk into the ring, right? Walk up to Anthony Joshua and just shove a bunch of fucking shit down his throat. I just think that's outrageous to me, because it looked very uncomfortable. It looked like Anthony Joshua was completely cornered there. What do you guys think? Felt like he was completely cornered and had no fucking choice. What was he going to do? Turn down Conor McGregor and make him look like a prick on live TV? What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being over the top? Mate, if you're my fighter, you don't take anything until the post-fight piss test is done. Especially from a guy who you know is most likely on narcotics. I'm sorry. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? And let me ask you a question. Who does this suit? Does it suit Anthony Joshua? Or does it suit Conor McGregor? Who does it suit? Who does it suit? Doesn't suit Anthony Joshua. He just knocked somebody out. He's letting all his emotions out in the ring. And before he's even had a chance to breathe, Conor McGregor's running in the ring and shoving some fucking crap down his throat. This is why you need to have the right people around you. This is why you need to have handlers and bodyguards around you. What the fuck is Conor McGregor doing in the ring? Can somebody tell me? What the fuck is Conor McGregor doing in the ring? Why has he been allowed to just jump in the ring like that? For what? For what reason? Not right. Not right, in my opinion. Not right. Especially from a guy who you know has been in the bathroom having a sniff. Am I right or am I wrong? Let's just be honest. I'm just being honest. Like, you know that guy's most likely been in the bathroom. It's my opinion, in case the lawyers are listening. But it's most likely that that guy's been in the bathroom having a sniff, right? Next minute, the guy's having a sniff. He's shoving a fucking drink down your throat. Next minute, you fucking failed a post-fight UCAD fucking test. And everybody's turning around saying you're a doper. What the fuck is going on here? You've got people in British boxing that are testing positive, left, right, and fucking centre. None of my fighters take anything or any drinks from anybody until the post-fight piss test is done. What the fuck are we doing, man? Can I ask you guys a question? If your daughter was in a nightclub, right, would you recommend that she just takes a drink from some random guy that she hasn't seen being poured? Does that make sense? Press 1 if you're with me, or press 2. If your daughter went to a club and some bloke just walked up to her, yeah, and tried to give her a drink, would you advise her to take that drink? You wouldn't, would you, right? You wouldn't, would you? Because you don't know what's in it, do you? Innit? If your daughter was in a club, yeah, and some bloke just popped up to her and tried to fucking give her a drink, yeah, that she never poured herself or something, you would say, what the fuck are you doing? Don't take that, right? Because you don't know what's in the drink, right? So why would it be any different for a professional athlete when millions and millions of pounds are on the line? Why would it be any different from a professional athlete? McGregor and AJ met backstage, though. It was probably planned. Now, that sounds like one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard in my life, to be honest with you. You telling me Anthony Joshua and Conor McGregor planned for Conor McGregor to storm the ring and shove some forged stout down his mouth? Please, man. That never happened, man. Conor McGregor is a loose cannon. That's what happened. McGregor is a loose cannon. Jonesy, I might be waffling, but guess what, Jonesy? Guess what? Guess what? There you go. Nonsense. Fucking, these people are delusional. They probably planned it backstage. Do you guys actually believe that stuff? Just get a thing of the chat. Does anybody here believe that Anthony Joshua and Conor McGregor had a chat backstage and they did a plan for Conor McGregor to bum rush the win straight after Anthony Joshua knocked out Robert Helenius, yeah, and stuffed the drink down his throat? Why would that make any fucking sense to anybody with a brain cell? Wouldn't it make more sense to actually do it in an actual like structured environment? So in the pre-fight press conference, in the post-fight press conference, have Conor McGregor at the press conference, have some branding there, have some posters there, and then Anthony Joshua has a sip. Wouldn't that make a lot more sense to you guys? What do you guys think? Wouldn't that make a lot more sense if you were actually going to plan it out? If you're actually going to plan it out, wouldn't it make more sense to do it, yeah, with actual branding around, do it in a proper setting with proper promotion? It's nonsense. Conor McGregor and Anthony Joshua had a chat. And the chat was, yeah, when you knock him out, I'm going to run in the ring. I'm going to run in the ring, yeah, with a glass of drink. And I'm just going to shove it down your throat. That's what they planned. Man, people need to wake up, man. Mental talk, mate. Absolutely mental talk. Mental talk. Absolutely mental talk, in my opinion. You guys are agreeing with me. There's no way that happened, man. Makes no sense. What would make more sense is that if you're going to do it and make an agreement, the common sense move is to do like an actual promotion of it, isn't it? Do an advert together. If you want to bring Anthony Joshua on board, yeah? If you're Anthony Joshua's man, and let me ask you a question, why would Anthony Joshua's management, Freddie Cunningham, agree to that? Do you think Freddie Cunningham is a complete moron? Just think about that. You're managing Anthony Joshua, and some UFC fighter says to you, yo, I want you to promote my brand. So what I'm going to do is, when you've finished, yeah, I'm going to run in the ring quickly, get past security, and I'm going to shove this drink down your throat, and you're going to drink it on camera. What kind of fucking manager would agree to that? Does that make any fucking sense whatsoever? Makes no sense, does it? If your manager would say, no, Conor, we're not going to do that here. If you want my client to sponsor your product, yeah? If you want my client to sponsor your product, then we're going to do it the right way with proper branding and a proper fucking contract. You're not going to fucking bum rush the ring, mate, and start shoving random glasses down my fighter's throat. But people don't use their fucking brain. Exactly. Ebony Bridges, that was planned. Ebony Bridges, that was planned. As you can see there, Ebony Bridges getting in a bra and panties, yeah, and serving pints, yeah, in forged out branding. But that was planned, though, was it not? You can see. I can't find it right now, but there you go. Look, you can see this was planned, right? This was clearly planned because you can see. Look at Ebony Bridges. She's wearing branding. Look, forged out branding. So you can clearly see that was a plan. Yes, that was a plan. But that bullshit that you saw last night here, to me, I don't believe that was a plan. So anyways, all I'm saying is, yeah, right? He's getting railroaded into doing all of these things, man. I just think at this point, we need to just cut the hangers off. I'd be asking question marks, man. I'll be asking question marks. I'll be saying, who's around him? For me, nobody should be able to get in the ring after a fight, yeah, and just get to Anthony Joshua like that, in my opinion, right? Handlers should be in and around him and protecting him. That could have been anybody. What the fuck was, I don't know what happened there. That was ridiculous, right? So that's my first opinion. I question the promoter. If you're going to fight in Saudi Arabia and you want your next fight to be under skills challenge, why don't you just go and sign a skills challenge and fight with skills challenge? You know they're offering millions and millions and billions. What do you guys think about that? Why would you? What's the need for Eddie Hearn to get 10% of the cut? What's he doing for his 10% cut? It's like Tommy Fury left Frank Warren, right? Which makes sense. Because what's Frank Warren doing for that 10% cut? Nothing. You know, he's not really doing anything, is he? Like, Tommy Fury can make the fight himself. Tommy Fury can promote himself. The fight with KSI is already a big fight, yeah? Purses have been agreed. Why would Tommy Fury give 10% for Frank Warren? He doesn't need, there's nothing that Frank Warren brings to the table, right, that requires him to get 10% of Tommy Fury's money. Innit? So it makes sense, doesn't it? So for Tommy Fury to say, actually, I'm not gonna continue to sign with Frank Warren, that makes perfect sense. Doesn't make any sense for him to sign with Frank Warren. It makes sense with him to maximize, didn't it? And maximize the amount of money he can get. Harvey's saying AJ signed a lifelong contract to match him, didn't he? Well, allegedly. I doubt it's really a lifetime. But yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he was thinking and why he did that. But, you know, like I said before, I haven't seen the contract. Part 2. New trainer. What do you guys think of this Anthony Joshua versus Derek James thing? I'm just trying to get a screenshot up of this, yeah? And I'll ask you why. Derek James and Anthony Joshua. Again, I do find it funny because Anthony Joshua is saying that he wants a trainer who's going to teach him defense. I've yet to see any of these defensive masterminds being trained by Derek James. I just haven't seen it yet, but maybe that's me. Derek James is a former fighter. He knows more about boxing than I ever will. So I'm not really in a position to criticize Derek James, but I'm just saying I do find that particularly odd. What I find particularly odd as well about the press conference last night, yeah, between AJ and Derek James, is just like, I know you don't want to put your fighter down in front of the cameras, right? I know you don't want to put your fighter down in front of the cameras, and I know you know, like I said before, you want to big up your fighter and you want to praise your fighter. You don't want to throw your fighter to the wolves. But I want you guys to press 7 if you agree with me on this. Did you not think that both Derek James and Anthony Joshua sounded absolutely delusional in that post-fight press conference about what had just happened? Did you hear this shit? Anthony Joshua was saying stuff like, it's a breaking down process. Anthony Joshua was saying stuff like, when he was asked to rate his performance, he wouldn't rate his performance. When he was asked about the booing from the crowd, yeah, he wouldn't respond, would he? He wouldn't respond when he was asked like about the boo. Oh, he said, who were they booing? Were they booing me or they were booing Hellenius? Well, they were booing you, yeah. And then what was the talk about? He was saying stuff like, he was praising Derek James in a corner, and he was saying, you know, Derek coached me through the knockout. And look, here's what I'm trying to say, yeah. That performance last night, if you want the honest to God's truth, right, was not a very, very good performance. Let's just be honest. He fought somebody who'd been knocked out in a round. Now, Hellenius is a decent heavyweight, right? But the bottom line of it is he is fighting someone who'd been starched in a round in his last big fight, and was coming off 1 week's notice, right? 1 week's notice. For the first 6 rounds of this fight, yeah, Anthony Joshua really failed to put together any kind of meaningful combinations whatsoever. Let's just be honest. You know, we saw him missing wildly with the right hand. He was in the corner mid-fight saying, I can't land the right hand. And we saw him missing wildly with the left hook, right? Let's just be honest and tell the 100% truth, right? We didn't see any real changes in Anthony Joshua, any real improvement since the Usyk rematch. Would you agree with me on that, yeah? There's no real improvement from the Alexander Usyk rematch, which to this day, I think is the best performance of his career, by the way. I think the best performance of his career is the rematch with Alexander Usyk. And then second, I would say, is the fight with Vladimir Klitschko. But I would say the Usyk fight is the best boxing performance of his career. I don't see any real improvements or changes from Anthony Joshua in that fight. I see a guy who's throwing punches from too far out. I see a guy who's leaving his feet behind constantly, which is why he can't set up combinations, because he's not bringing himself into range. No double jab, no doubling up of the jab last night. Throwing singles from too far out, leaving his feet behind him. Tentative, gun shy, doesn't want to commit. And last night, not badly hurt, but hurt in the ring last night. Not badly hurt, not in trouble of getting knocked out, but hurt in the ring. Hurt in the ring last night. You see the eyes swelling up off the jabs, caught some left hooks. Didn't look good. Nose bloodied up, face bloodied up. You know? And Helenius, the reason why he got the highlight reel knockout of Robert Helenius, right? And nobody's really saying this, is because Robert Helenius was on 1 week's notice. If Robert Helenius had have done a full camp for that fight would have gone a distance. Would you guys believe? Yes or no? 100% in my mind. Just going to tell you how it is. Like, if Robert Helenius had a full camp for that fight would have 100% to me gone 12 rounds. Anthony Joshua would have won the fight, but he would have won the fight in a 12th round unanimous decision. Because to me, quite clear, you could see Helenius' legs give up after about round 5 or round 6. And he just couldn't keep Anthony Joshua off him. And like I said before, that's the key for the knockout. The key for the knockout really wasn't because Anthony Joshua started setting up his punches and started bringing his feet with the punches. The knockout came because Robert Helenius' legs gassed out and Anthony Joshua was able to walk him down. That's all that happened. That's all that happened in that fight, you know. And that's why I say Anthony Joshua is and his handlers and the people around him are absolutely delusional when they talk about a breaking down process. Breaking down process, yeah, right? A breaking down process is when you've got a guy who's fleet-footed, a guy who's on the back foot, and then you corner him off, you start landing big, heavy shots early and often, and you start putting a dent in that guy. You can see the guy degrade as the punches are landing. That's a breaking down process. There was no breaking down process from Anthony Joshua last night, yeah? It was a nip and tuck fight right until round 6, round 7, where you could see Helenius' legs start to fade. And then AJ caught him with a cracking shot and wiped him out. That's not a breaking down process. Does that make sense what I'm saying to you guys? That's not a breaking down process. Robert Helenius wasn't taking big and sustained punishment as the round by round. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't taking that big punishment round by round by round by round by round. The punches weren't degrading him. What was degrading him was the fact that he had 1 week's notice. And you can see the bounce in his feet go. You could see the foot speed go. And you knew, and I said it last night live on commentary, after about round 6, you can see that this is a guy breathing through the mouth. You know, you can see the signs. It's obvious. Losing shape. So what does that mean? You have a stance, right? You have a stance plus a guard. We call that a shape, yeah? That's how you set up to offend, and that's how you set up to defend, yeah? You have a shape. When you get tired, you lose your shape. When you get tired, yeah, your hands start to drop by your waist. Watch Robert Helenius last night. Round 7, round 8, hands by his waist. Look at watch the fighter's mouth. They start breathing through the mouth guard. You can literally see them fucking breathing out of the fucking mouth. Mouth hanging wide open in between fighting. That's another sign. So low hands, breathing out of the mouth, and the foot speed decreasing are all signs here of a fighter who's beginning to struggle with the pace of the fight. And that's what we saw from Robert Helenius. And because his feet began to leave him, yeah, he naturally brought himself. Obviously, AJ was able to sort of walk himself into range and land a shot that he needed to land. But if Helenius had done a full camp, that wouldn't have happened last night. So there was no breaking down process. And I just find it very, very weird, like I said before, with Anthony Joshua, yeah? He's not honest with himself, is he? That's the point I'm trying to make. And that's the problem that I'm trying to make about his mental weakness, because part of being, I'm not a very, very mentally strong individual, but part of being a mentally strong individual, yeah, is about being honest with yourself. Press 1 if you agree with me on that, press 2 if you disagree. Part of being mentally strong is about being honest with yourself, isn't it? Do you not think so? Part of being mentally strong is being able to look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself about what you are and say, do you know what? Just not good enough. Do you know what? Just didn't do it today. Do you know what? I haven't been good enough. Do you not think? Do you guys not think that's actually a part of being mentally strong? Being willing to admit your own flaws. Look yourself in the mirror and say, do you know what? I haven't done what my coach asked me to do. Do you know what? I was too tense in the ring tonight. Do you know what? I kept leaving my feet behind me when I was throwing my shots. Do you know what? I was throwing my shots from too far out. Do you know what? I didn't commit enough. I didn't gamble enough. What do you guys think? That to me is mental strength. But Anthony Joshua doesn't want to do that, does he? He likes to delude himself, doesn't he, with home comforts. Do you not think he likes to delude himself? It was a breaking down process. It It was no breaking down process going on there. I don't know what this guy was talking about. I'm just being honest with you. It's a breaking down process, but has he got that person around him behind the scenes? Because you don't have to check him on camera, innit? In front of everybody. That's fine. But does he have somebody behind the scenes? Because in front of the cameras is irrelevant, right? But does he have someone behind the scenes to go and say, AJ, listen, let me tell you something. You know that was shit, right? You know that, you're throwing punches from too far out. Do you know that when you got in that ring tonight, you were too tense, right? You know, when we looked at you, on the walkout, we could see your body all tense up and you can see the sort of the glazed look in your eye. Like, do you know that you don't relax in your ring? Do you know that 90% of the problems, Anthony Joshua, that you have in the ring, are because you just don't relax in the ring? That's where pretty much most of your problems are happening in the ring. Is anybody actually taking him aside and told him that? Like, that's where his problems are coming from, because he doesn't know how to relax in the ring. He comes in the ring all tensed up. He comes in the ring stiff, tensed up and stiff. You can see it, and he boxes stiff. I bet when he spars, honest to God, I bet when he spars, he looks so much better than when he does when he's in the ring. I bet you when he spars, he does things that we never see him do in the ring before, because he's probably a lot more relaxed. When you're relaxed, your shoulders drop. When you're relaxed, you stop hunching your shoulders and your shoulders drop. And you start getting more speed in your shots as well, because you're not tensing. You're not tensing the wrists. You're not clenching as much when you're before you punch. One of the telltale signs that fighters do when they're tense, is they tense their arms and they tense their fists before they throw the punch. Like, most boxing coaches will tell you, you're supposed to stay loose until the punch connects. So you stay loose, and then when the punch connects, you clench your fists at impact. At impact. Some of you who've boxed may have heard that, Your coaches tell you that. Loose, and then as you connect, or just before you're about to connect, that's when you clench your fist and you turn your punches over. That's where the power comes from. The power doesn't come from tensing all the way through the shot. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Press one if you get me. The power in boxing doesn't come from tensing your arms and tensing your fucking biceps and tensing your muscles all the way as you're throwing a punch. It comes from, as you're turning over the shot, clench your fist at the end of the shot. You're supposed to, right at the end of the shot, as that shot's landing, you start twisting your fist, you start turning your punch over, you clench your fist. You don't clench your fist in. Do you understand? You don't fucking sit. Just, for guys of you who are watching right now, just sit there right now, sitting there, clenching your fists right now. Can you feel how robotic and how stiff your arms are when you're sitting there clenching your fists? Just sit there, clenching your fists, both your fists right in front of you, and just try and move your arms back and forth. Can you see? And now relax and see how easy they move. Completely open up your hands and relax and see how easy they move. You don't tense your body and tense your shots or tense yourself all the way through. You tense yourself at the point of impact, right? You're supposed to tense yourself and clench up at the point of impact. And it's all these little things that I don't think he's doing in the ring, because it's something that a lot of it's controlled by your nervous system. It's controlled by the way you breathe. It's controlled by the way you think about yourself. It's controlled by the way you feel about your opponent, It's controlled by a lot of psychological things. And he's a guy who's very tense. He's a guy that's very tense. Doesn't relax in the ring. And that's why he can't fulfill his ability. Because when you heard Tony yesterday, when you're not relaxed, you're not loose. When you're not loose, the shots, your shots don't flow. You tense yourself up. The first thing that will happen to you is you'll gas very quickly, because you're sitting there tensing, expending all of that energy. So you will gas extremely quickly. You become very heavy-footed. You don't become fleet-footed. You become very, very heavy-footed. You're pushing off your back foot. You're pushing off your front foot. Instead of gliding around the ring, you're supposed to glide around the ring. You're supposed to almost skip along the ring. Almost like you're walking on water. It does none of that. You can see the guy all tensed up in the ring. This is why he's got stamina problems. That's why he's got stamina problems. It's not just because he's big and got muscle. He's got stamina problems because he's big, he's got muscle. He gets in the ring, he gets all tensed up. He gets worried about what's going to happen. He's tensing his whole body through all the shots. His fucking feet are tense. His feet are stiff. And his body probably weighs about fucking, 10 tons in the ring. That's why he gets stiff. Does he have that person around him that's going to sort of wake him up to what's actually going on? I'm not sure Derek James is the guy to do that. What do you think? I'm just not sure that Derek James is the guy to do that. All this fucking Lions only shit and fucking chopping fucking wood. Is that what he needs? Do you think that's what he really needs? All this fucking chopping wood? Lines only and chopping wood and hard sparring. Maybe the hard sparring, but I'm not sure that's what he needs. I think a lot of his problems could be solved by simply relaxing in the ring. Do you know what? Should I tell you something I thought about the other day? And you guys let me know if I know this is a terrible episode and I'm talking pure guff, right? But let me just say this. I'm not saying Deontay Wilder is a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. But I'll ask you guys a genuine question, yeah? And I could be wrong. You know when you see Deontay Wilder outside the ring, is it me, yeah? Or is he quite chilled out? Obviously, he's had a lot of weed in it. He smokes a lot of dro, yeah? But is it me? Or would you say that when you see Deontay Wilder outside of the ring, do you not think that Deontay Wilder is actually a pretty chill guy? Just let me know how you feel about that. Do you not think that Wilder is actually a pretty chill guy? We've seen in the past him say dumb shit about killing people, you know, till this day, etc., etc. We've seen Wilder have his moments. What would you say? Would you say on the whole, yeah? Most people would say Wilder is the most dangerous puncher in the division. Would you say that in general, Deontay Wilder is actually quite a laid-back, chilled guy? Do you see Deontay Wilder get really angry very often, just in interviews, or do you, or in a run-up to post-fights? Do you see him get angry a lot? Seems pretty chill to me. Do you not think? Do you not think he's a guy that seems pretty chilled out? Do you not think he's a guy that seems like pretty relaxed with himself? Do you not think he's a guy that's win, lose, or draw pretty comfortable in his own skin? What do you guys think about that? I mean, the guy talks some grade A rubbish, doesn't he? Wilder talks grade A rubbish. But you not think in general, when you see Wilder, for a guy, yeah, that has so much power, yeah, and for a guy that is extremely intimidating, do you not think he's a guy that actually, like, doesn't take himself as serious as someone like Anthony Joshua? So, for instance, you've got Anthony Joshua coming out to the Mafia music. Do it make sense? Last night, coming out to the Mafia music. Last night, coming out to the Godfather theme tune, talking about gangsters, talking about Big Meech, talking about Larry Hoover, talking about his background drug dealing, talking about his time in Reading prison, talking about, the hard background that he came from, talking about, going up, the whole thing with the going up to the students and threatening. Remember, he went up to the students and threatening the students and telling the students what they can and can't say to him and what they can and can't think. What did he say to the students? Remember, someone's going to break your glass jaws and then you're going to get chased out of this uni. Do you remember all this stuff? Someone's going to break your glass jaws and then you're going to get chased out of this uni. Where does all this stuff come from? Like, the guy thinks he's an episode of the fucking Sopranos. Like, where does this stuff come from? Like, all these, watching these mafia movies, comparing himself to gangsters, coming out to the Godfather music, comparing himself to a mobster. He takes himself seriously, doesn't he? Do you not think, I'm just saying, do you not think Deontay Wilder, for someone who's incredibly intimidating, probably the most intimidating man in heavyweight boxing, do you not find it funny how he's the most intimidating man in heavyweight boxing, but he doesn't feel the need to constantly going around intimidating people? Do you not think that's coincidental? Press one if you agree with me on that, press two if you disagree. He's the most intimidating man in the heavyweight division, but actually, for the most part, he doesn't feel the need to walk around intimidating people. Doesn't feel the need to come out to mafia music. Doesn't feel the need to talk about drug dealing. Doesn't feel the need to explain his background to people. Doesn't feel the need to reiterate the fact that he's been to jail. Doesn't feel the need to ask his opponents at the weigh-in, what the fuck are you looking at? We can get it on right now. Doesn't feel the need to do any of that, does he? Does he really? He doesn't. Why is that? Why is that? Because he's comfortable, because Deontay Wilder is comfortable with who he is, isn't he? Win, lose, or draw. Is he not, though? Is he not? Win, lose, or draw. Is he not comfortable in who he is? Doesn't feel the need to talk himself up, does he? Doesn't need to talk it up, does he? Doesn't need to talk it up. Because the opponent knows what's going to happen when they get into the ring. The opponents already know what's going to happen. The opponents already know if he lands. They know what the outcome's going to be. You don't need to say nothing, to be honest. You don't really need to say too much, does he? He's had his fuck ups, Wilder. He said some terrible things in the past. But I'm talking about on the whole, isn't it? For a guy that's so intimidating and a guy that carries so much power, he's pretty chilled out. It's Anthony Joshua's the one, isn't it? It's Anthony Joshua's the one who's constantly walking around, threatening people, threatening journalists after fights, calling people out in the crowd after fights, threatening to fight people, threatening students. I would get rid of them. I would get rid of them. See this guy? The Hodge twins. Michael Jarman and these guys. Listen. I'm not sure I keep these guys around. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't know what these guys are doing, but Anthony Joshua's got a lot of bad man around him, innit? Look, remember these guys, the Hodge twins and Michael Jarman, a.k.a. Jim Jones from Dipset. He's got a lot of bad man around him, AJ, innit he? Look at this. Keep saying it, look. He's got a lot of bad man around him, doesn't he? Look. I'm just asking the questions, innit? I could be wrong. I'm just asking the questions, innit? He's got a lot of bad man around him, innit, AJ? He's got a lot of hench brothers around him, innit? Got a lot of bad man and got a lot of hench brothers around him. But do these brothers really keep him grounded, though? Do these brothers say to him, look, AJ, forget about the time you served in Reading jail. Forget about the time you served in Reading jail. You're a multimillionaire now. You're not a gangster. I would tell him that to his face, straight up. Like, you're not a gangster, man. Stop trying to act like a gangster. You're not a gangster. Like, you're a boxer. You're an incredibly hard individual. You would knock out 99.9% of men on this planet. But you're not a gangster. You're not a gangster. You're not a mobster. You're not a drug dealer. Yeah? You're an incredibly rich sportsman who's done very, very well for yourself. So all this stuff about watching mob movies, we know, innit? He said, oh, I just spent ages watching all these documentaries about fucking, drug dealers and all these guys. And, he's saying he looks up to drug dealers and criminals. What do you think, man? What do you think? You saying you look up to drug dealers and criminals, man? I don't know, man. I would clean all these guys out, to be honest with you. I would get rid of them all. Here's what I would do, and I'll leave you to watch Chelsea and Liverpool, all right? Here's what I would do, to be honest with you. I'll give you my step plan for it. Here's what I would do if I was Anthony Joshua. Let me tell you what I would do. If somebody said, Ultra, you have all control over Anthony Joshua, here's what I would do, okay? I'll run you through the plan. Plan number 1. To be honest with you, I would consider sacking off Eddie. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's my first one. What do you guys think about that? I would consider sacking off Eddie at this point, because I don't think that with the biggest fights of Anthony Joshua's career still to take place in Saudi Arabia, I could be completely wrong, and maybe there's some kind of point that I'm missing out on. But right now, Eddie would be on the chopping block. What do you guys think about that? He'd be on the chopping block, because I'd be looking at that and I'd be saying, who's working for who here? Who is working for who here? And who needs who more than who? And I'll be saying to Anthony Joshua right now, listen, I know you want to stay loyal and all this shit because you've been watching all these mafia films. He'd be watching Don Corleone, innit? And Michael Corleone. So he's all into fucking loyalty, innit? And I'd be saying, listen, loyalty only takes you so far. For me personally, right, if I could, I'd look at a way to get out of that exclusive deal and I'd become a free agent. What do you guys think about that? Yes or no? You think I'm wrong about that? I would. If I was advising him, I'd say, look, first and foremost, yeah, if you do fight again, we want to maximize you and get you on the biggest platform. So I'm telling you here to tell you right now, yeah, we need to start cutting the fat. Yeah, we're not, this is Anthony Joshua's a business, yeah? What does he talk about? He talks about property triangles, doesn't he, Anthony Joshua? What does he talk about? Time, money, and what was it? Quality, innit? That's what he's talking about. He's giving sermons in the car about property, innit, Anthony Joshua, yeah? Time, money, and quality. Well, I'm telling you right now, if I was Anthony Joshua, if I was in his team, I'd be examining that contract with Matchroom Boxing. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be saying, what are we getting out of it? If it turns out that we're getting astronomical amount of money, yeah, or if it can be quantifiably proved, yeah, via numbers and stats that Eddie Hearn is adding something like to the table, keep him on. Keep him on. Keep him on. But I'd have to see numerical proof that he's thinking, what's hate about that, Nico? What's the hate? Where is the hate in saying, yeah, that I'd like to see if I was had total control over the operation, right? What's hating about saying I'd want to see some kind of tangible numbers and statistics, some evidence to show that partnership is actually doing something for Anthony Joshua? Because it can't just be IFL TV interviews saying that he's going to knock out Deontay Wilder. Does that make sense? We can get that from anywhere. I can get anybody to come on IFL TV and talk a bunch of rubbish. It has to be more than that, yeah? Now, in the past, obviously, it was that Sky contract, right? But these days, no, it's not. So I'm just saying to you, I would look at it. Second thing I would look at. I know this sounds crazy. I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm being honest with you. Eddie Hearn would be on the chopping block. I'm not saying definitely fire him, but I'd need to see some proof of what he actually brings to the table. If I can't see any tangible proof, so if you can't show me a spreadsheet, or if you can't show me, right, numbers, actual numbers to say, right, that Matchroom Boxing are adding XYZ% to Anthony Joshua's value. Matchroom Boxing are actually adding XYZ. Does that make sense? If I can't see a spreadsheet, if I can't see some numbers or statistics to say, and I'm not talking about in the past, I'm talking about now. If you can't show me something now, not talking about 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'm talking about now. If you can't show me something now to say, this justifies why I should hire you and pay you money, then we're not going to pay you money. Because it's a fucking business, not a charity. Derek James. I want a trainer who's going to tell Anthony Joshua and get him to loosen up in the ring. The importance of... If this man learns to loosen up, and if this man learns to relax in the ring, you'll see his boxing go to a completely new level. Half of the battle that he's having in the ring right now is because he's anxious out of the ring, and that anxiety is coming into the ring. He's got what's called performance anxiety. Shall we look it up? 100%. Guy is a walking advertisement, in my opinion, for performance anxiety. This is what I think Anthony Joshua has. He's got performance anxiety. That's what I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just giving you my opinion. He looks like a guy who, to me, might be having problems with performance anxiety. Nervousness is normal, but when it starts getting to the point when it starts hindering your performance, it becomes a problem. What is performance anxiety? Performance anxiety is a set of emotions that can be beneficial up to a point, triggering a fight or flight response that prepares the body for potential danger, making us more alert and ready to respond. For many, these feelings will subside once the performance starts or shortly after. But for others, performance anxiety can be extremely limiting, stopping them, preventing them from pursuing their passions or careers, etc., etc., etc. I'd like him to, I'd definitely, listen, I'd have him on board and I'd have him talking to somebody about that, to be honest with you. And I want a trainer who's going to get him to relax. Can I just say one thing before I go? Because I know you guys think I'm crazy and I've botched this episode. But can I ask you guys a question? You know Alexander Usyk, yeah, who most people on the internet think is the best heavyweight in the world, right? Do you not understand that if Alexander Usyk wasn't relaxed in the ring, can you imagine a tensed up Alexander Usyk in the ring? Can you just imagine that? Can you imagine a tensed up Alexander Usyk in the ring? A tensed up, stiff, anxious Alexander Usyk in the ring? Do you think he'd be able to flow the way he does? Do you think he'll be able to throw the baits he throws? Do you think he'll be able to put the combinations together that he does? Do you think he'd be able to glide around the ring and pivot around fighters and take angles? Do you think he'd be able to react as quickly to opponent movements as he does if he was overly anxious in the ring? Do you not? Usyk's another fighter. Do you not see how relaxed that Alexander Usyk is like before a fight? Like, how many times do we see Alexander Usyk in the ring? He's dancing, isn't he? He's dancing. He's making a fool of himself. What would you think? Do you not think that's a coincidence that Alexander Usyk's another guy who, again, he doesn't take himself very seriously? Do you not see that? Wears stupid clothes, gets in the ring, dances, makes a fool of himself, gets people to film it. What's the thing about can't speak English, right? He can understand English, but he can't speak English. Does he get anxiety about doing interviews with people because he can't speak the English language? Or does he make it into a gimmick, Usyk? Does Usyk make it into a gimmick? Does Usyk turn it and use it to an advantage? And does he make it into... Think about the I am feel. Did he get offended by that? When people were taking a mick out of him and laughing at him for that, did he get offended? Did he start going into the crowd and threatening people and saying, do you know who you're fucking talking to? Did he go up to a bunch of students and start telling them to watch their mouths or someone's going to break their jaws? Or did he run with it? Did he have a laugh of it? Did he go with it? You know, is he a guy who doesn't take himself exceptionally seriously to the point where he doesn't mind, you know, people having a laugh at his expense? Do you not think Usyk's quite a relaxed guy? And do you not think that kind of shows in his boxing when he's in the ring? Doesn't look like a guy who's got the weight of the world on his shoulders when he's in the ring boxing, does he? He's fluid, isn't he? He's fluid, isn't he, Usyk? He's very fluid in his movements. He's fluid. And that comes from relaxation. Because if your mind's tense, your body will be tense. Usyk's relaxed in the ring. That's where the movements come from. That's where the pivoting comes from. That's where the reaction time comes from. Think about the way he set up Anthony Joshua, particularly in the first fight. Did he try and bum rush Anthony Joshua, try and get into range and land one big shot and hope? Did he do that? Or did he what? What did he do to Anthony Joshua instead? Did he just bust Anthony Joshua up with little singles and doubles? What did he do? Just moved around him, baits, feints. And he was touching him up, wasn't he? He was double jabbing and then pivoting around and setting him up for the left hand. And he was moving in and out and he was moving around. Then he was feinting. Then he was hitting him with little pop shots. Look at that relaxed style of boxing. He was moving in, he was moving out, he was feinting him with the feet, he was feinting him with the hands, little double jab, shot to the body, straight left hand to the body, little double jab, left hand to the head, buzzing around him. And it was almost like Tony says, it was death by 1,000 pillows, right? Right? Because he believes in himself, didn't he? And he believes in the process right now. An Usyk who didn't believe in himself, you see a different type of fight, it'd be like, shit, I've got to close the distance and land something and hope I hurt him. And then see what happens. Does that make sense? But you never saw that from Usyk, did you? Because he's always in control. Always in control. And a lot of that comes from relaxation. So if Derek James isn't the trainer that's getting Anthony Joshua to be relaxed in the ring, for me, then he's not the right trainer. Because you can teach a guy as much as you want. But for me, like I said before, it's not just about picking a trainer based on a name. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. It's not about picking a trainer based on names. You can pick the biggest, best trainers in the world, but if you don't click with that trainer, if that trainer can't get you to relax in the ring, if that trainer can't sort you out in the ring mentally before you get in the ring, then it's fucking pointless. So I'd be looking to get him with somebody who he responds well to. Does that make sense what I'm saying, guys? More important than anything technical, because he's been in so many championship fights, right? And he's coming to the end of his career. So there's really only so much you can teach him at this stage. There's only so much you can teach him at this stage of his career anyway. You can't almost reinvent the wheel at this stage of his career. So I think that my priority for a trainer would be someone that can get him to relax, because I think that's the best way to get something out of his boxing. I think his feet would improve. I think his hands and his feet would be faster. And I think he would see punches coming faster. He'd be relaxed a lot more in the ring. That's what I think. And I'm not sure Derek James is the guy to do that. So Eddie Hearn would be up for grabs. Derek James, I'm not sure if he's the right guy. This stuff here would be a no. Any of this stuff here would be a no. Any of this stuff here would be a no. Any kind of... See all these guys? I don't care who these guys are. Cut these guys out. I'm sorry, man. I'm sure these guys are great guys, good guys. I would tell you right now, yeah? You need to have one or two people, and that's it. I'm sorry, but you need to seclude yourself, man. What do you guys think about that? You need to seclude yourself, man. You need to seclude yourself, and you need to be comfortable in your own skin, man. You need to be comfortable by yourself, and you need to be comfortable in your own skin. Get out of the UK, catch a flight, get away, go away. You haven't got any children. Go by yourself, or we have to pick one person. Pick one person that's been with you for most of your life, most of your career. Pick one of these guys. Pick Jim Jones. Pick a Hodge Twins. Pick a Sir Skins. Pick an Adebisi from Oz. Pick any one of these guys that you want. Take one of them and go. But the rest of them have to go. One man. Let me tell you something. I really can't say, Andre, if you still want to call in, I'll bring you in, by the way, Andre. I really do appreciate the fact that Chelsea and Liverpool are on and we've still got 172 on here. I understand that. And I've completely botched this episode. I've fucked it up. I'm just sitting around and I understand that. But there is some method in my madness. Let me tell you something and you tell me if I'm wrong. I want to talk about how I live my life, yeah? And you tell me if I'm wrong. And I am not, yeah? I am not Anthony Joshua. Do you understand? I am not Anthony Joshua. I will never know what it's like to be an Anthony Joshua, right? But I'm going to tell you something personal about me because you stayed with me and listened to me ramble on. I will tell you something personal about me and then you tell me if you think I'm right or wrong, okay? I I'm a weird case because I'm not a celebrity. I'm not well known. And I mean nothing to most people, right? But at the same time, I'm a guy that's capable of having between 5,000 and 1,000 people listening to them talk about boxing at any one given time. Yeah. On this channel, you will see, yeah, that the people who have had wrenches, yeah, have wrenches for a reason. It's not because they're great moderators, yeah. Other than Yo King and possibly Golden Mike, most of my moderators don't moderate a damn thing, right? Most of my mods, yeah, as you can see, are guys that have been here, yeah, from the get-go. You may notice that I keep a very small circle. I talk to a very small group of people online, very small group of people online, and it's really the same 2 or 3 people that I talk to on a regular basis every day. And those 2 people know who they are, right? I don't really make a habit of talking, yeah, too much, yeah, to anybody else, right? In my personal life, I don't have any friends because I don't believe in friends. I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe like, also I don't have any friends, but you know Facebook, yeah? Those people who have 200 people on Facebook, that's fake shit. You can't have 200 friends. Does that make sense? You can't have 200 friends. All this Facebook stuff. I've got 300 friends, 400 friends, 500 friends. All that stuff's a waste of time, yeah? I don't really use my Facebook. I don't use anything. I have a set number of people that I talk to, and that's it. That's it. I don't leave the house. I don't go drinking because I can't handle drink. I know I can't handle drink. So I know that when I drink, nothing good happens. Do you understand? Nothing good happens when I drink because I can't handle it. Yeah. I'm not going to try and go outside and pretend to be something that I'm not. Certain people can handle drink. I cannot handle drink. So I never drink because when I drink, nothing happens. When you have mental health problems like me, drinking and taking drugs is the worst thing that you can do. So don't take drinks, don't take drugs, and don't glamorize drinks and don't glamorize drugs. There's nothing glamorous about drinking drugs. There's nothing glamorous about it for me. So that's how I live my life. Yeah. I have Mrs. Ultra. Yeah. Okay. Is our relationship perfect? No, it's not. No relationship is perfect. But I've been with Mrs. Ultra for 10 years. Yeah. In those 10 years, I've never ever cheated or done anything or done what. Do you know how I do that? Because I don't leave the house. I don't leave the house. Because you know what? Outside of these doors, there's nothing but trouble. The truth about life is there's nothing good outside, in my opinion. Unless you're flying away to the Bahamas, or unless you're flying away to Barbados, yeah? Or, you know, unless you're flying away to a place like that. Really, when you go outside, what is there? Like, it's the same old shit in there. A few fucking Starbucks coffees, a few Costas, a few homeless people on the street, and a few wannabe gangsters. There's nothing really outside. There's nothing. I don't really believe in going outside unless it's to go to the gym or the boxing gym or to weight rows or to M&S. You always see me in one of them 5 places: the gym, the boxing gym, Waitrose, M&S. That's it. There's not really much been going on outside other than that. And occasionally, yeah, the odd walk down the canal or down whatever or whatnot. But the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, right? Gotta keep your circle tight, man. You gotta keep your circle tight. Especially when you start earning a lot of money. You gotta keep your circle tight, man. And that's the bare bones basics. I don't even think that Anthony Joshua has done the basics for this. I don't even think he's done the basics. Who are all these people? I'm sure some of them are good mates, but look, man. When you're unsure about yourself, like Anthony Joshua is, yeah, and you're not sure who you are as a person, and you don't know, yeah, if you want to be a gangster or professional athlete, best thing to do is to take a one man holiday. Go away, go by yourself. Don't answer the phone to Eddie Hearn. All this shit about Eddie Hearn ringing up your phone. Yo, I'm on the phone to Prince Khalid. I'm on the phone to Prince Khalid, man. This fight, we can get this Wilder fight done for Tuesday. We can get this Wilder fight done for Tuesday. I'm on the phone to Prince Khalid. Forget all that shit. Get away from the pressure. Get on a plane. Go to the Bahamas. Just you, nobody else. If you have to take your wife with you, take your wife with you. Go away and sit down. You've got fucking 50 million pounds in the bank. You can eat at pretty much any restaurant. You can walk down anywhere. You can do anything. Go away, right, to a place where it's just you, and just go walk and just think to yourself, man, and figure out how you are, man. I'm serious. I'm 100% serious about that, man. Go and figure out who you are and figure out who you want to be and what you want to do. Don't let this fucking turnip here. This is what I say. And it annoys me when I get turnips like this guy speaking on his behalf. Why? Fucking on your behalf. Because he ain't the one getting in the fucking ring fighting for you. That's all I'm gonna say to you. Like, he ain't the one getting into the ring fighting for you, man. That's what people, these boxers need to understand. Like, this guy here isn't getting in the ring fighting for you. He talks like he's gonna fight, but you don't fight nobody. Only person he ever fought is Frank Smith. He talks like he wants that he's gonna fight Simon Jordan. He was an amateur boxer. All he does is talk, but he don't fight. He don't fight nobody. He don't fight nobody with his little Spanish gangster friends out there. He don't fight nobody. He ain't gonna fight. He ain't gonna fight for you. He ain't getting in the ring taking punches. I would never let this man speak for me. I say, you're my promoter. You speak when I let you speak. You work for me, man. I employ you, man. You're my promoter. You don't fucking tell me when I'm fighting Wilder and what date and Prince Khalid. You don't say any of that shit. You don't say any shit that I don't authorize you to say. It's not for you to start going to the press and start telling them when I'm fighting and who I'm fighting and what dates and whatnot. Are you fucking mad? You work for me. You present the offer to me and I tell you when we're fighting. It ain't the other way around. It ain't the other way around. All this shit about you walking me to the ring. What are you getting in the ring? Are you fighting? So what are you walking to the fucking ring for? Why are you in the front of the ring walk for? Because somebody asked me that. Why are you at the front of the ring walk? Like you're walking me to the ring, trying to make yourself front and center. What are you fighting? Are you getting in the ring or something? Are you going to be throwing punches? You're not. You're not throwing punches. So what the fuck are you doing? Am I right about that? Or am I wrong? I'm just being honest with you. Like, I find this stuff like mind-boggling, isn't it? And Frank does the same thing as well. And I tell him to stop doing that as well. Like, what are you doing? Why are you at the front of the ring walk? You're going to get in the ring. Go and put your gloves on, jump in the ring then. But if you're going to ride, you need to ride, innit? You're going to ride, you need to ride. Go put the gloves on, jump in the fucking ring. Then you can come out of me on the ring walk. Then you can come out of me on the ring walk front and center. Walking out with your fucking head held high, walking tall like you're the one who's going to be doing the fighting. Jump in the fucking ring, put some gloves on, yeah? And do a couple spars. Then you have the right to walk the ring with me. Other than that, the ring walk's for boxing people. You ain't boxed. You ain't been in the gym. You ain't been in the ring. You ain't part of the ring walk, man. What is this, man? This is the basics of fucking basics, man. This is like the basics of boxing, man. I'm just being real. Like, you guys want my opinion? I'm being real. Like, that's my opinion. Fucking guys who ain't even fighting turning up on the fucking ring walk. What's going on here? You ain't been in no fucking gym. And you're fucking front and center on the ring walk like you're about to go to war. Don't live vicariously through me. Don't live. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you hate me. Do not live vicariously through me. If you want to be a fighter, put the gloves on, get in the ring. Otherwise, fuck off. Go and sit in the ringside seats and wait for me to get finished. I'm being real, man. If you ain't fighting and we ain't fought, go sit in the fucking ringside seats, yeah? And wait for me to be finished, man. What is this, man? This starts fucking crazy. When did this fucking start? Frank does the same thing. These promoters walk in front and center like they're about to go out to the ring and fight. Man, shut the hell up, man. You work for me, man. I'm the fighter. You work for me. These guys are mad. How fast I cut these guys out of the game. Quick. I cut these guys out quick. But this is a guy who needs an intervention, in my opinion, Anthony Joshua. That's what I've said it a million times. I believe he can be saved. Oh, yeah, I need to send the link to Andre. Shit. I believe he can be saved, you know. But I believe he can be saved. But I think part of the process, right, of saving Anthony Joshua is tune-up fights. We know we need to tune-up fight. Stop putting the pressure on him. Forget talking about Wilder in January. We know Wilder's supposed to be fighting Andy Ruiz and all that stuff or whatever's going on. Forget that talk and focus on finding him a new fight. Forget all this talk about Wilder in January and Prince Khalid's coming in. Look, tell Prince Khalid to put the kettle on just for a bit and we'll get back to him. Because right now, you've heard what I just said. The fighter's told you that he needs to be more active. Right, Andre's here. Let me just get my fucking headphones on. Andre, if you give me 30 seconds. Andre, you're live. Sorry about that. I was muted. Andre, you're live.
Yes, Ultra, how are you, brother?
Andre, go for it. So I'm just going to mute myself, man. So I
Cool.
don't
Can
talk
you hear
over
me?
you. I can hear you clearly, crystal clear.
Cool.
Go for it, crystal clear.
100% great. Yeah, no, look, just touching on what your last point was about Eddie Hearn living vicariously through Joshua. There's no doubt about it. And, when you said that, it triggered something that I remembered that his, let's call it, Savile loving father said, that he said when he signed AJ asked him, what does he want from him? And he said, I just want 1% of your adrenaline. So that just proves that I think just like the father, Eddie Hearn, no doubt, is living vicariously through Anthony Joshua. So, yes, I think that Eddie Hearn has always loved to be front and center. Even if you go back to that first fight at that press conference that David Hay had with Bellew, he actually brought it up in that press conference and said, why do you always want to be center stage and be the man in the front, etc.? And it's true what he said, because up until today, Eddie Hearn must always be the center of attraction. I mean, his ego is seriously off the charts. And I really do think that his whole little spiel is getting a little stale now, really. It's once in a while he's a bit humorous, etc., but he's really a little toffee-nosed, spoiled brat. I mean, no doubt about it. And this whole fallacy about his father and him boxing, I mean, that, it's not even a worth conversation. Look, getting back to Joshua, Andy Ruiz definitely took that guy's soul, Ultra. There is no doubt about it that night at Madison Square Garden, after that, this guy's never been the same. He is so vulnerable to getting punched. He's so scared of getting punched. Which boxer is there that can't commit? If you just look at Povetkin, for instance, his style of fighting, come forward, really a tough guy, come forward, and takes it the way it comes. Joshua will never, ever have that killer instinct again. That has been taken out of his soul. And, I've always said, and we all know, he is way too muscular. We know muscles don't win boxing fights. Getting back to what I said to you last time about the late Corey Sanders, our South African WBO champion that passed away 2012 after getting murdered. Yeah, but when he fought, Klitschko, and also before that he fought Hasim Rahman. Corey's power was highly, highly rated. He was obviously a southpaw too, but even Hasim Rahman said that's the hardest he's ever been hit by Corey Sanders. Even Vitaly Klitschko said he's got one hell of a punch. And of course, he put Vladimir Klitschko out. Point being is, look at Corey Sanders' physique. Corey Sanders had hardly any muscle on him, but he was loose and he was agile and he had devastating power. Ask anyone who faced that guy. He faced a lot of top contenders. They're going back even to Bert Cooper. That guy had tremendous power, but he never had a muscle on his body. And it shows that muscles mean nothing in boxing, because muscles don't make you be elusive. They don't make you be agile. They don't make you being able to move your body and have the left to right movement, etc., etc. So Joshua has never been the right physique to be a top boxer. He is robotic and he's seriously, seriously stiff. And I'm telling you, Ultra, there is no doubt in my mind that, Wilder must be licking his chops. He is going to really put that guy in intensive care, because if he couldn't take Andy Ruiz's punch on the temple, can you imagine Wilder hitting him like he hit Dominic Brazil, for instance, or even Helenius, or the other guys that he starched? There's no way that Joshua is standing up to a right hand by Wilder. There is no way. And I've been trying to rack my brain to think, where does Wilder's power come from? Okay, we all know power comes from a variety of places. But the only conclusion that I really come to with this guy, okay, it's got to be natural, first of all. But would you agree, Ultra, that it's got to be bone density or something? Bone density in his knuckle or some fucking thing that just makes this guy be kryptonite. I don't know. Or it can be quick twitch fiber muscles, the fiber twitch in his muscles, or it's coming from that big hump on his back that looks like just a coiled up a bunch of muscles, and that's sort of elasticated. I can't really see where else it comes from. It's really a mystery if you think about it. Why is Wilder's punch so devastating? It's got to be bone density. There's nothing else I can think of, and a few other factors that we put together. Of course, he's quick, but he's not that quick. But I mean, and normally they say power comes from the legs. Okay, even like for instance with Mike Tyson. I mean, that guy's got massive thighs. Even they said like in golf, the power comes from the legs, and Jack Nicklaus had had huge thighs as well, and that gave him tremendous power. So it's really a mystery where Wilder's power come from. Yes, it's God-given, but if you really just think about it, where can it be from besides his bone density? Would you agree with me?
I don't know, Andre. You know more about it than me, but I will say one thing, yeah, about Wilder, and I'm not saying this is where his power comes from, but I will say this about Wilder. In chat, you let me know if you agree. We've seen this guy Wilder get outboxed and beaten up multiple times. Yeah. I've lost count of the amount of times I've covered Wilder fights, yeah, where he's 6-0 down, 7-0 down, 5-1 down, 4-2 down. Do you know what I mean? He's always down.
Yeah.
Because when he's not knocking people out, he actually isn't actually doing a lot in the ring, in my opinion, which is, But one thing about Wilder is, yeah, and you see, and the biggest showing of this is the Ortiz 2 fight, whatever people think about Luis Ortiz.
Yes.
He's 7-0 in that fight, yeah, and he's beginning to get hurt in that fight. But he stays calm. He stays relaxed. Yeah. If you look at the shot that he lands on Ortiz, yeah, and this is a signature of Wilder shots, does it ever look like he really charges up on them shots? Like, you look at his knockouts, yeah, and you think, but how has he knocked them out? Like, the one that he threw against Ortiz, there's pretty much fuck all backlift on that shot. Yeah. He doesn't charge his arm back. There's hardly any backlift, right? He just follows straight through. Yeah. And next minute, the guy is asleep, yeah? If you look at the shot with Hellenius, yeah, again, it looks like an innocuous nothing shot. But he gets the guy, he times the guy, and he gets the guy on the chin. So I don't know the answer to your question, right? You probably are right. Maybe it's a combination of a lot of things. But one thing I will say to turn it into my advantage is Johnny Wilder is not a great boxer, right? He's not a great boxer. He loads up on his shots a lot. He telegraphs on his shots. But you know what he does quite a bit more than Anthony Joshua, in my opinion. He has a very, very good habit of staying relaxed in the ring. And he sticks to a plan. When he's 6-0 down, 7-0 down, look at the fight with Tyson Fury. Right?
Yeah.
Fucking 10-2 down in the first fight. Well, sorry, so it was like 9-2 down in the first. He was gone in that first fight. He was gone in that first fight. The entire arena was silent. And then out of nowhere, right hand, uppercut, or where it was, or left hook, and then boom, the whole fight changes. So he's always loose, isn't he? That's what I'll say about Wilder. Look at them knockouts of the Fury one and the first one, but particularly Ortiz one. He stays loose. He stays nice. And he stays loose, and his shots are short and sharp. Sorry, Andre, keep going. And Anthony Joshua doesn't do that. When the game plan gets away from Anthony Joshua, you see, like I said before, when things aren't going Anthony Joshua's way, you can see him tensing up, you can see him telegraphing, you can see him hunching up, you can see him loading up, you can just see tension over him. Whereas the only thing I'll say about Wilder, even though ages are much better boxing than him, is Wilder to me is better at sticking to the game plan. Because he will stick to that game plan from round 1 to round 12. And that's why he's dangerous at any given moment of the fight. He's dangerous from round 1 to round 12. Go on, Andre, keep going.
I agree. Even besides that, one thing, look, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about him in terms of the excuses he made and all that other nonsense. But like I say, as I said with Fury last week, even though he's got a million faults, Wilder has got heart. And he's got balls of steel, and he's got a heart of a lion. We've got to give it to that guy. You with me? He's got more guts and heart than AJ can and will ever have. I mean, Wilder has got a never give up, don't die attitude. Even there with the third fight with Fury, even those last, I think it was round 9 or so, he was still knocking Fury with uppercuts, etc. He's really got the heart of a lion. So that I will honestly give to him.
Andre, Sorry, Andre, to cut in. I was going to ask you. I want to switch you up. Can I ask you about the lifestyle changes? If Anthony Joshua came to live with you in Cape Town for a week, yeah? Let's just say you're Anthony Joshua's guide, yeah? Okay?
Yeah.
Right? He's in your custody, yeah? Okay, to Cape Town. How would you run it with him, right? So maybe you might say, look, only you're turning up. You're not bringing in these hangers on with you. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. What would you suggest that he does? Like lifestyle changes, because I think a lot of his problems are coming from actually outside of the ring. I think mentally he's
I totally agree. I think the guy's got to, you get some of these people in life, even day-to-day life, Ultra. Now, what you described earlier, I'm very much like you. I turned 50 now, the end of May, okay? I also have like no friend circle, maybe 2 guys I'll contact. I can be on my own. I can stay on my own. I can live on my own. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. I also don't go out or anything like that. I stay at my house. I rigged up my house so that I can have everything I want here. So I'm very much like you in that regard. I don't touch alcohol. I haven't had any alcohol for like 25 years. Only ever drank socially. I don't do any other shit. Not that I'm a hero, a goody two shoes, but I agree with you what you say as well. Alcohol and all of that other shit brings no good. I've seen it. I've seen the devastation it causes. So I don't go there. But in terms of Joshua, I don't think Joshua has a strong enough mind and is secure in himself enough, Ultra, to be on his own. I think all these hangers on are there for him to make himself feel good, to maybe lift his spirits, to get reassurance. And then he has these outbursts now and then, like he did with those students, which was, I've never in my life seen. I mean, as bad as Mark Tyson was, have you ever seen Mark Tyson go up to students and want to fuck them up because they were gossiping about him or something like that? I mean, yes, Mark Tyson had fights with other people on the streets, etc., but he never did that type of thing. So Joshua, to me, is a weak-minded individual. Yes, he's achieved much more than I ever have or will in my life, and I take my hat off to him that he became world champion twice. No doubt about it. Nobody can take that away from him. So somewhere down there's got to be some form of talent and really confidence. But especially since he lost to Ruiz, he needs these people to I suppose make himself feel good, lift his spirits. Why does he have to have all these hangers on? So I would definitely make sure he's in a secluded environment, and then he's only with his trainer and thoughts of his own, and works on himself emotionally. I agree with you. This gangster shit I can't take. And getting back to Eddie Hearn, you know what I thought about as well, which I agree with you fully, Ultra, that Eddie, he shouldn't be up front to doing any shit. Do you remember? I think it could have been the first or the second. I think it was the first Usyk fight, where somebody in the crowd chirped something as he walked by, and then he turned back and said, "Oh, you shit yourself! Hey, you shit yourself!" Like acting like also a big gangster as well. When the one of the patrons, the spectators, said something to him as he passed by. So he also likes to think he's tough, etc., and can't handle criticism. But in terms of Joshua, the way he behaved in the previous fight in Saudi, I mean. You know, the press never gave him enough stick about that, Ultra, to throw a belt out of the ring, to throw a tantrum like he did. And also now last night as well, sort of storming out of the ring, etc., etc. He's a bad sportsman. He hasn't got good sportsmanship. He's similar to Wilder in that way. And this gangster, he's like between two worlds. He's trying to act like he's all tough, from Finchley or whatever the fuck he was, and he used to be a drug dealer. Now, whose fault is that? Instead of even counting his lucky blessings, where he finds himself today and acting in a dignified manner, yet he always wants to act gangster. And as for Conor McGregor, well, I mean, that guy somewhere along the line is going to see his ass, because all the shit he's done, from going to break bus windows, other incident with that woman in the toilet, I mean, slapping old men and all the shit. I really, really hope this guy lands up in jail sometime too, because he's the most arrogant bastard. So I've got no time for him. And as for him taking drinks in the ring off, I mean, that's just ridiculous. But apparently this idiot sponsored the show. I heard Eddie Hearn on one interview say that's why he was there, etc. So obviously there's a financial side, but I agree with you. How can you be drinking out of other people's stuff when you actually have still got to do the blood test or the urine test? It's ridiculous, man. It's unprofessional. And no, look, I've got no time for McGregor. And I think the gentleman and the ultimate boxer today, in all aspects, is Terence Crawford. There's just no doubt about it. His conduct, the way he carries himself, his confidence. I mean, nobody can touch that guy for his behavior, etc., etc. So no, look, Joshua to me is a joke. Eddie Hearn's just riding the gravy train, just like his father did, etc., etc. And I just think that obviously we all know Joshua is the cash cow. They're cashing out with Saudi, but all I know is Ultra. Wilder's going to hurt this guy. He can never live up to. He can't deal with that power. If he couldn't handle Andy Ruiz's power, Ultra, Wilder is going to decapitate this guy.
Andre, I don't know what else to say, my brother, but thank you very much for calling in, my man. I really
Great.
appreciate it.
Nice chatting. All the best to my boxing brother friends out there.
All the best, mate. Save the show yet again. Thanks for bailing me out, bro.
Bye.
Take it soon. Take it soon. Skyliner, you are live on the air. For some reason, please unmute yourself. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Uncle Ultra. I got beef with you today, you know.
What you got? Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I've been listening. Now, normally, I agree with a lot of what you say, yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, you gave Anthony Joshua some stick about drinking from Conor McGregor. Yeah, I actually understand what you're saying, but I think it was from the angle they were trying to do a product placement. So a lot of sports events do that. So it might have been like a pre-rehearsed thing, like make it look like you've run into the ring, you've put, you've given him your drink, and to make it look like it was a natural approach. Like I watched the fight, I got inspired, I ran in, I gave him my drink, he fueled up on my Guinness or whatever. Like that was the whole kind of marketing exercise behind it. But from obviously what you said is correct. Like he shouldn't have done it, but that's the angle that they were going for, basically. Yeah, it maybe.
So keep going, bro. Brother, keep going. I'm listening to you. Keep going, bro. I'm listening to you. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. With regards to the fight, I actually found it boring, man. I was like thinking, why are you throwing single shots? Where's the combinations? And why are we not pressing this guy and getting rid of him? And Hellenius, I know he was there like just to get squashed, but he was catching AJ, even with his limited work rate. Like I thought he could have done more, but he was still getting his punches off. And the issue is if AJ fights Wilder, Lord of mercy, man, this guy is gonna get pummeled. He's just gonna I don't see Wilder getting put off by his, these bloody range finding jabs or this little pot shot he tried to do, because he doesn't throw anything unless he's 100% sure that he's gonna make a connection. Whereas I can easily see somebody like Malik Scott telling Wilder, listen, when he throws those almost lazy jabs, throw at the same time as him, and Wilder will throw. He doesn't have the patience to do this one jab thing. He'll throw punches and bunches, and he'll hurt AJ, man. We're gonna see this guy get flatlined, and somebody's gonna have to remove him off the canvas. This is what's gonna happen. I don't even know, like, what is the advice that Derek James is giving him? Because on one of the sections they showed on TV, he's asking Derek James, he can't find the angle for, I think it was a right hook or something like that. The response from Derek James, what is he going to do? If you're a fighter, right, even if you're an amateur or you've gone in there for a spar, sometimes you have to figure out stuff yourself. It can't be textbook. You haven't gone to IKEA where you follow the instructions and then you end up with a nice coffee table. Like sometimes you have to try and figure out stuff in the ring as well. Throw more than just one of these jabs, and then I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna throw the jab, then he's gonna adjust himself and try to close the range so he can hit another power shot. Like,
Mm.
do you think Wilder will figure that out?
But
Wilder has had more experience in fighting tougher opposition in Tyson Fury, where they have
yeah,
gone back and forth. Now, this guy AJ is, if he was a bit more cavalier in his approach, then I would say, yeah, the fight would be more even. But from what I've seen yesterday and in the Franklin fight, this new style of fighting, like, why is he being technical now, man? Like, you should have been technical 5, 6 years ago when you were in the learning phase. Like,
well,
why are
that's
we
one.
trying to, like, it's like you're trying to put round pegs in square holes or whatever the phrase is, right? It makes no sense. Like, your attributes do not allow, like, your natural attributes are to go in there, throw punches, and get stuck in the fight. Like, but now you're
Can, can,
trying to be, ah, man, I don't know, man.
can-
You're trying to
let
become,
me can I just quickly defend myself quickly on this McGregor thing very quickly? And do you know
Uncle
what?
Ultra. I agree with what you said, yeah, in terms
Okay,
of the drinking aspect. But I was
okay,
just telling you why they may have done it. But you're
okay.
right
No,
in what
I
you said.
understand. But
Yeah.
can I just say one? Can I say one thing on that? Is that okay?
I'm all ears.
I'm not going to try and disagree with you because I can't change your opinion. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to try and change your opinion. This is what, yeah, I would say about that. The only thing I would say is this, right? My recommendation, I could be completely wrong on this, but this is to people in the chat, yeah? If you're going to do something like that, right, when you're promoting the event, to me, yeah, it makes a lot more sense to do something like what you guys can see on the screen right now of Ebony Bridges. Like, we know, yeah, that this was clearly planned because we can see Ebony Bridges, yeah. She's behind forged out branding. She's in forged out branded uniform. Like, this is a proper and appropriate promotion, yeah, that has been done with the agreement of both parties, yeah. So that's what I think, yeah. That's, well, appropriate. She looks, but you get what I'm saying, yeah. This
Yeah.
was clearly, yeah, planned, yeah. This was clearly planned, and this makes sense because, like I said before, you've got Ebony Bridges wearing the clothing with the stout and behind the branding. So this is what you call, and also obviously the press are there as well. So this is what you call proper promotion. I could be wrong, you could be right, yeah. But I have a
Yeah.
funny feeling, yeah, especially after seeing Conor McGregor's behavior at the Katie Taylor fight. He has a habit, yeah, of running into the ring and jumping into the ring and getting involved in things that he doesn't need to get involved in. My thing is, and I could be wrong, my hunch is Conor McGregor saw an excellent opportunity to promote his drink, yeah? And so he's run into the ring very, very quickly, yeah? And he's put it on Anthony Joshua, yeah? And he's done that for the purpose of selling his drink. But I don't think that was pre-agreed. And I still think, yeah, and I know you agree with me, but I'm just clarifying. I don't think that that's the correct way to do things, especially these days when everybody's getting popped. And I think we all know that Conor McGregor is on something, don't we? I mean, he's definitely. I've got to be careful what I say for the lawyers. My opinion is, yeah, that he's an individual who definitely comes into contact with narcotics. So I don't want him anywhere near my athletes. But brother, that's my opinion.
Too
I could
much
be wrong.
icing sugar, yeah.
Exactly. And he's been
Yeah.
in a and for me personally, who knows what the fuck he's been doing in the toilets? Because
So
you know what
most
goes on in these.
likely, because I have a background in this kind of stuff, right, for work. So most likely his team would have said we want, because it's what they call it is content marketing. They're trying to
Okay.
create an angle where it comes. It's supposed to look like it's a inspired
Authentic.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a like a, it's not like what you said. What Ebony Bridges is doing is more
Yeah.
what you would say it's been
Organic. It's more organic in the moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be looking organic. That's what they want it to come across. And
Okay.
also, while he's in the ring, maximum eyeballs are gonna be there. Whereas
Good
I know
point.
you said
Very good point.
like
Very,
they
very
could have
good
left
point.
it
Good
to
point.
the
Good point.
post press conference. However, you wouldn't get the maximum exposure. Is most likely
Good point. Good point.
Conor McGregor's side have pressed for this to take place. I don't think if they've sponsored it and they've put a substantial amount, then it would have been in their service level agreement that we're going to go ahead and do this action. Um, and that would have been put in writing most likely. So it's something that, because of the pressure of saving the event, Hearn's team would have agreed or succumbed to that.
Okay. Skyliner, I've got a dash because I've got two people on the line, but I think your points
Okay,
were
man.
excellent.
Thank you. I appreciate the time, man. I
Listen,
love the
yeah,
show.
but listen, you should call back because I think your points were excellent, yeah? And I've taken what you've said on board, okay?
All right. Thank you, man. Speak soon.
Take care of yourself, bro. Take care of yourself. Dazza, I'm bringing you in 10 seconds, Dazza. Don't go anywhere. Tony, you just got in before Dazza. How you doing, Tony, with the Kronk shirt? How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Good to see you, Ultra. Look behind me. We're live. We're live
Oh.
from see the O2 behind us.
I can.
If you're lucky, you might bump into Eddie Hearn at IFL Live, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, a whole array of special guests. But I'll tell you who won't be there: Anthony Joshua, because, as I said a long time ago to you, he's near the end of his career. I went to see the Franklin fight a few months ago, and it was like watching Bambi on ice. He's just got to milk that last bit out of his career, but we're mugs for paying the money. I mean, you know, I'm so glad I didn't get a ticket for last night because, you know, the amount they were asking for those tickets for Dillian White was just ridiculous. And then if you stayed and kept your ticket to go and see what you saw last night, then more fool you.
So I muted myself. You seem to have been through a few of your fights. You seem to have followed Anthony Joshua throughout his career. So you basically think now we're past the point of no return now. None of my suggestions or not. He's unsavable. He's unsalvageable. Is there anything we can do? What can we do? What would you advise him if you were to bump into the O2 right now and he was sitting on a park bench and you could have a word with him? What would you say?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. I think he was gonna that Ruiz when he was gonna fight. It was a bit like when Andy Ruiz stepped in and he was all humble. He was all, can I hold a belt, Anthony? Can I hold a belt? Got drawn into that. We all remember that, and it's since then there's something underlying. Whether Anthony Joshua has got an underlying mental health issue or ADHD, something like that. Dillian White often hinted that Anthony has some sort of medical use exemption or something. So, and it never really, they spoke about, after the fight in New York, he had some sort of procedure. What was that procedure? We've never got that information. And one day it will come out, Ultra, but, I don't want to see him go on to, okay, if he wants that big fight with Wilder, but I really don't. Wilder might be as shot as him now. It depends who's past it.
True. It's very true. Wilder's inactive, and nobody brings that up. The Wilder's inactive.
Yep, he hasn't been. Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had. Who was his last? Oh, his last fight was Robert Helenius, and if you compare the two, then yeah. But no. So if anyone does want to go over to the O2 and bump into Eddie Hearn, have a chat with him. You've got the beautiful there, Mary Wolf in the background. You can have a really good night out. But no, I just wanted to say hello today, Ultra, and thanks for all you do. Okay.
Thank you, mate. Take care. If you see Eddie Hearn, ask him about Conor Ben's drug test for me, okay?
I will. Okay. I'll say my best with you.
Cheers. See you, mate. See you, mate. Where the fuck is Daz, man? Daryl, man. He just jumped off. I'm about to give you the keys, man. Somebody jumped in. This is the problem with links. I should have emailed you the link, Daryl, because what happens is, and this is what caught me out last night, yeah? Because I keep posting the link in the chat like an idiot, people just jump in. So that's fine. I'm happy to hear from them. Happy to hear from them. But obviously, people then jump in and get in as quick as they can. And I got caught out there, Daryl. So if you're there, let me know. And Daryl, if you want me to email you the link, I'll email it to you directly, Daryl. That's what I should have done the first time. So I apologize for that. Yeah, he's there. What is that? Is that IFL shit on tonight then? Is that live tonight, guys? I'll be honest with you guys. British boxing is such a dump at the minute. I don't even follow it with that much sort of rigorousness anymore, especially when it comes to shit like Big John Fisher and fucking Johnny Fisher turning up for IFL TV live. You know my opinions on IFL TV, so we ain't got to go through that again. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes just in case Daryl comes back because I feel super bad about that. So Daryl, again, if you're there and you want to pop back in, let me know. I'll even email you the link personally. I apologize about that. And it's a lovely view there from Tony Issue there, wasn't it? It's a beautiful view, straight out looking over the looking over the kingdom of Sadiq Khan, aka London. And if you look closely in the background there, you can see people with machetes cutting each other to bits. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah. Ebony Bridges looks like a girl on a Magaluf strip. Look, I think it was dreadful, to be honest with you. She's supposed to be the IBF champion of the world, and she's behaving like that. It was absolutely tragic, to be honest. You know, it was. How do you go from being a world champion boxer in your own right to being fucking cannon fodder for Conor McGregor? It's sad, but I shouldn't feel too sorry because she's making a shit ton of money out on OnlyFans. So it is what it is. And a very, very good point from Skyliner. He thinks that was marketing. He thinks that was some form of marketing. And he made a great point. You get more eyes in the ring than you would during a press conference. So that's a very, very good point there made by Skyliner. Maybe I've got that wrong. It is what it is. Let's have a look. Has Riku been on today? I need to get onto Riku, but I want to get Riku on when we've got something other than Anthony Joshua to talk about, because I want to do that. So hopefully get Riku back. Guys, just to quickly say as well, if you can get in contact with Julian McGowan for me, I'd be very, very interested in having Julian McGowan on the show. If somebody can get in contact with Julian McGowan for me, I don't know, or somebody can show me a way to get in contact with Julian McGowan, I'll be super interested in getting him on the show. RE failed drugs tests in a sport of boxing. I think he's got some opinions and some insight, that all of us would very, very much, benefit from hearing. While we just wait 1 more minute to see if that was going to pop back on, I will quickly give you a bit of challenge as well. We are bringing what? Oh, be careful with. If we still have a YouTube channel, so we are planning to bring on more people. Some of them you may know, some of them you may not know, but we are planning into bringing a few more people in who are going to give us a little bit more of an insight into boxing. So I'm not going to say any names yet, but we'll bring in a few people. It's quite. I will say one thing quickly. It's quite a shame because there are certain people that I'd love to get on the show. So I've I've reached out to Dev Sani a couple of times. I've known Dev for years. Not known, but I've talked to Dev for years. I've reached out to Dev Sani a couple of times, but I don't think that's going to happen. But he's been known, Dev Sani, that he's always welcome to come on this channel. It's a shame, you know. Can I say one thing quickly, if you don't mind? And this is from a content creator's point of view, right? If you look at last night's show, right? Shall I show you right now? So if you look at last night's show, right? So last night's show did, as you can see, basically 10,000 viewers inside 24 hours, right? So you can see there, right? Basically 10,000 views inside 24 hours. We had 500 people on last night. So the show actually is capable of doing quite good numbers. But it is a shame, when we see people go on other shows, particularly shows that are going to be quite hostile. I'm probably not explaining it the right way, but yeah, what we see is like people going on shows, and even though they know that the show creators are going to be hostile towards them, and try and make a fool out of them, they still go on those shows as opposed to go on this one here. And I don't really understand it. I don't think it's even like they'll be getting more views either. I don't quite understand what's going on there. It's very, very, very strange indeed. I've never understood that at all. Why somebody would get called out and then go onto a show which is going to try and make a fool of them and do that and get less views than if they just popped onto this show and just jumped on and had a chat. It just don't make no fucking sense. What happened to Mickey Elliott? He's still around, but Mickey's still around, and there's no stopping Mickey Elliott coming back. There's nothing nefarious going on at all there. It's just like different lives, isn't it? Like Mickey's busy. Like I think Mickey Elliott does very well for himself. You know, like he has property in England. He's got property in a different country in France. He's got a wife. He's got kids. Like people are like, not everybody. I'm not meaning this in a disrespectful way, but like Mickey Elliott is not one of these bums, trying to get YouTube access because they don't want to go out and get a proper job. Like a lot of these people actually have like proper jobs. Like Mickey Elliott has got businesses he runs. He's got property business. Mickey Elliott does very well for himself. So he's a busy guy, man. Like a lot of these guys are busy fucking people, man. It's not like guys like, no disrespect, but to Charlie Parsons, but it's not like Charlie Parsons. Like, do you know what I mean? He's got nothing to do. Jump in a full Fiesta, get down to the fucking O2 Arena and try and interview Eddie Hearn and try and get a few clicks. Blah blah blah. Like, these people are already established. They're sort of, they're already making money. So it can be very very difficult to sort of set up times and get with these people. But yeah, that's a damn shame about Daz. I don't think he's gonna pop back on, but I will get in contact with him about coming back on and doing something. Right. What are we going to be covering coming up before I leg it off, right? All right, let's have a look at this. What are we going to be doing coming up? I think we're going to get off the whole Anthony Joshua thing, because I think we've done the whole Anthony Joshua thing to death, right? We would all agree with that. We've got Daniel Dubois versus Alexander Usyk coming up. I would have loved to have got Dev on for that show, because for some reason he actually thinks Dubois is going to beat Usyk. I don't think Dubois has much of a chance. I've given Dubois less than a 5% chance of beating Usyk, yeah? But Dev really thinks that he can do something in that fight. So that fight, Dubois and Usyk, is in 2 weeks' time. So I was very, very keen to get him on for that fight, just to explain what he sees in that fight that makes him think that Daniel Dubois can win. But I don't believe that's going to happen, obviously, because I don't think he wants to come on this channel, which is absolutely fine. Another person that I wanted to get on as well is Billy Nelson, because Billy Nelson is somebody, again, who, he seems to, have no problem with telling me I'm wrong on Twitter, and he's got no problem coming at me on Twitter. Billy Nelson, on Twitter, no problem. What was it? I woke up to a day or two ago, and Billy Nelson's already having a crack at me. So he's got no problem having a crack at me on Twitter. But when I ask him, look, do you want to come on this show and have a chat? He don't want to come on the show and have a chat. And I don't understand why. Like, I won't make it difficult for him. I just want to ask him, Billy Nelson, about Bacole. Wouldn't you be interested to know about what happened in sparring between Martin Bacole and Daniel Dubois? I don't understand why he won't come on and talk about it. It's bizarre, but it is what it is. Maybe they think this channel's not big enough, but I don't know, man. Like I said before, we did 10,000 views in a day yesterday, which ain't too bad. So we're doing what we do. We had 500 in the live chat. I think Billy Nelson comes on here. I think he'd do quite well for himself. I think he'd do quite good numbers, but Billy Nelson won't come on. So I'm really gutted about that, because I really wanted him to come on and explain and answer some questions, Martin Bacole. We're going to ask him about Martin Bacole versus Michael Hunt in the rematch. We're going to ask him about Martin Bacole in sparring, Martin Bacole and Usyk, because there's been claims that Bacole hurt Usyk with a body shot. It's all kinds of stuff that I'd like to talk to him about, and very friendly as well. We always give people a say. We don't battle rap on this channel. We don't do that. We don't battle rap, and we don't, try and outdo somebody or try and make someone feel uncomfortable, because you don't get the best out of the interview if you do that with somebody. Does that make sense? So it is what it is. But it is what it is. I had a very, very interesting chat with somebody else. I'm not going to tell you about that, who I also tried to get on the show. I'm not going to say the name because it will cause a bit of beef, but somebody else I tried to get on, and Jesus Christ, there wasn't. Let's put it this way: Anthony Joshua isn't the only person out there who's got mental issues right now. Let's put it that way. Fucking hell, some of the shit you have to deal with is unbelievable. But some of these people are just out there, absolutely out there. I don't know. It is what it is. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, we are. But I've got trying to work on getting a couple more people on here to give their opinions and give their views and see what's going on. So I think now it is time to take a break from this. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks, isn't it? Dubois versus Usyk in a couple of weeks, and hopefully if we still have a YouTube channel, we'll keep going. But I think now, like I said before, unless Billy Nelson decides he wants to come on this channel, I think we're gonna go into and have a little break on here. MYA says, I miss Jason Walker. It's always nice to hear his raw analysis of AJ's fights. It would have been great to have Jason Walker on here last night, but again, he's another guy who's extremely busy. Somebody says something about this. John Trouser says, Julian said he's retired from talking about boxing since Conor was apparently cleared. Well, he's not been cleared yet by UCAD. So get in touch with him and get him to come on, because I'm very, very interested. Dench says, Billy don't want the smoke. Billy Nelson. There is no smoke, but I don't understand why he won't come on, to be honest with you. I don't understand it. I don't think it's about views, because it just doesn't make sense to me. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's keep going here. Some of you guys are mentioning therapeutic usage exemptions, which I definitely can't talk about right now. The general thing is I'm getting a bit of heat, blah blah blah. We'll wait and see. All I will say is this: I think my record in closing on Anthony Joshua has been pretty good. I think if you look at my record of not predictions, but if you look at my record on Anthony Joshua and what he's not doing right and what he is doing right, I think my record's actually pretty good. I think it stands up over the course of time. I think if you compare my record to other people's record who were saying he was better than Lennox Lewis, I think if you look at my record and look at their record, I'll take my record every single time. I think I've been pretty accurate, actually. So glad you guys enjoy the show. Time to take a break. If any of those guys want to get in contact with me, let me know. You can find me on the old Twitter. Let me know on Twitter. I'll be very, very interested. And take care of yourselves. And if I don't see you before the Dubois fight, take care of each other. Peace out.